everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we usually start the show by being transparent as best as we can. Yesterday, I went 2-2. UCLA, last second loser. That was tough. And then the Knicks, first half, Jalen Brunson got ruled out and didn't come to play in that game. At least, or not Knicks first half, Knicks full game. Didn't come to play in that game. So those were two losers. Clippers and under were the winners, and those were the bigger bets. So I still came out a little bit positive, plus like 1.1 units. Would have liked for it to be better, but I'll take it. How was yesterday for you, Rob?
Yesterday was good. Sounds like we both released almost the exact same NBA card. Clippers were a best bet winner. Second half was huge for them. They pulled away and never looked back. Knicks first half, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to have to start fixing it because I think that's 3 out of 4 first halves they've lost now. And we'll talk about another one today with Indiana first quarter, which might need to be fixed too because Indiana's been covering first quarters. But the college was once again good. Skee had UConn laid 4, really never in doubt, 2017. Then next thing you know, it's 34-17, and they ran away from Arkansas. And I had UCLA first half. I shortened it up. Not having
Nice.
Bona was, we talked about it on the show yesterday. We talked about him in terms of maybe foul trouble, but then to have him not even, suit up. So they came out quick, but that was a wild game. I mean, for those who had Gonzaga, good for them. For those who had UCLA, that's agonizing because really with 2 minutes left, you feel like you're ripping up your ticket then, and all of a sudden they go on that 10-1 run, and you're like, this ticket's going to cash now. So 3-pointer by Strother, little Liberty High kid from Las Vegas. On to another day, though. We'll see. Tomorrow's lines for college are up and posted, and people have been getting at it, so let's get after it.
Absolutely. And I did see Josh yesterday. He did put UConn in the chat yesterday, and he did put a whale next to it. So I do remember that good hit on that UConn play. That one was never in doubt. It looked like I tweeted it out. It looked like JV versus varsity. Arkansas didn't have any business being there, or at least it looked like it. So good stuff there by him and you as well, Rob. Let's talk a little bit about college today. And I know I said I was going to go in rotation order, but I did it a little bit. Put one game out of rotation order here, so we'll start with that one. It's going to be San Diego State and Alabama. And this game opened Alabama -6.5. They're now 7.5-point favorite. Total open 138 is down to 137.5 or 137 at some shops. And I'm going to refer to our good friend Little Ralph Michaels, the sheet that he put out yesterday. And let's see if we have San Diego State or Alabama active on any of these trends that he provided. And I'm scrolling down the list. I see San Diego State is active here. Teams with 3 straight wins and now a dog since 2013. Those teams are 14-2-1 against the spread, 87.5%, and also 10-7 to the under. And it looks like out of all the trends, that's the only one that's active on this list. I don't see any for Alabama. So is this too many points for a team that's been playing good basketball right now, Rob?
Yeah, San Diego State, is a Power 5 conference style team. Skee. I mean, they sit out there in the Mountain West. I know in college basketball, Justin, let's go UConn. I know I'm trying not to be a homer too soon. I want to get to the Final Four here. San Diego State, it definitely the depth, the size, the athleticism. I mean, the Mountain West doesn't get a lot of credit for being a really good basketball conference. But if you place San Diego State in the Pac-12, Skee, or if you place them in the, an SEC, Big Ten, put them anywhere, they're going to be successful. So we're not dealing with a team that, basically is just there to play Alabama. I mean, they could win the game. They pride themselves on defense. They always have, but they have offensive players as well. I think it's interesting to see which team's going to force tempo, right? Alabama wants to go as fast as you can possibly go, and San Diego State really doesn't want to go there. However, against quicker paced teams this year, they have gone a little bit, and they've got guys that can go and they can score. So it'll be interesting to see over the course of 40 minutes. I think this possession battle, this tempo battle is going to be split up At some points, be a little slower. At some points, be a little quicker. They both are active with their hands. So if you get a couple of steals, deflections, games kind of pick up speed-wise at that point. I thought the total might be a little bit too low, Skee, and it's more of a gut feeling than it is prove it with statistics type of thing here to play over 137.5. Now, this number has been there. Oh my goodness, maybe since Monday, 37.5. And here we are almost at tip off, only 4 hours away, and it's still the same. So a lot of back and forth on the total here. If it were me, I still think I would lean Alabama. I don't think their offensive performance against Maryland was very good the other day. They got the 73. They did get Maryland to speed up a little bit. And in essence, Skee, playing Maryland was a pretty good preparation game for playing San Diego State. Same style, same type of head coach, except that I think Brian Dutcher for San Diego State will allow his team to do a little bit more offensively. And same type of bodies and speed. So I'm going to say I would lean Alabama minus the points in the end. They free throw shoot well. Certainly Brandon Miller's going to have a little bit of target on him from San Diego State. But I said that yesterday about Marquise Noel. And guess what? Marquise Noel was just a better player than anybody Michigan State had. And that could be the case here with Miller too. And it's, of course, Alabama's not just Miller, two of everything on that team. So I'm going to lean Alabama. I'm going to say I like over. Best of all, over 37.5 here. And again, that's just me, 30 years of gut feeling that Alabama and San Diego State are both going to shoot it pretty well here. San Diego State did shoot 50% in their opener in this tournament against Furman, or in the second game against Furman.
So Rob liking the Alabama side, and it seems like it's a little bit of a correlation here. If you expect Alabama to run away with this game, which they can, because just thinking about it, I don't feel like San Diego State has really played anybody good. Like, their defenses look good, but what offenses have they really played? Would you agree with that, Rob?
Yeah, the two that they've had in the tournament, obviously low majors, College of Charleston from the CAA, Furman from the Southern Conference, very good offenses, efficiency-wise, but again, low major, not Alabama, right? So they've been able to be the better team personnel-wise against those two. They're not the better team personnel-wise here, and they may get forced into a little bit of tempo by Nate Oates in Alabama. Again, I don't think San Diego State will shy away from it for 40 minutes. I'm expecting them, Skee, to get themselves to about 67 points. If they get themselves to 67, I win this bet pretty easily on the over, and I think that's Alabama's almost willing to let you have 67 if you're going to let them have 77. That might be where it lands here.
Well, I'm liking what I'm hearing, and I do agree, after the breakdown and just how I'm thinking about it, Alabama should be able to pace them up. If it's getting away from San Diego State, they're going to have to run.
Right.
And I don't think the defense is good enough. So over 137.5, I'll put that on my short list. That's the side that Rob is liking, and I may get there by the end of the day. Let's keep moving right along here, Rob. We do have 4 more games in college basketball, and next is one that I really like quite a bit. One of my teams that I follow. My other team is knocked out now, so I got to roll with Houston all the way down. You guys see, I was here last year, Sweet 16, Houston. I was at the game, so I like them today. But I'm gonna let Rob go first in this one because you guys might think I'm a little biased. This one opened Houston minus 7.5. I got a better number than that. I bet them at minus 7, but it says it opened at minus 7.5. Still 7.5 across the board. Total open 139.5. We're looking at 139. I feel like, just short and sweet, I feel like Houston is a better offensive team and defensive team. And usually when it's like that, they can run away with the game. Do you agree with that, Rob?
Well, I'm never going to disagree with any game that you start off with and say Houston's the better defensive team, because they always are. Always the better defensive team. I'll go off course a little bit here and say, how are we not able to arrange a setting where you, myself, Joe Ranieri, and Robert Harris were all together to watch this one? This would be good. Joe's a Canes man. Robert's a Cougars guy. I'd like the Miami offense. This is a great contrast here, Skee, and it depends which way you look at it, which way you bet it. Miami's guards are tremendous. Isaiah Wong is a unheralded player nationally. Not a lot of people know about him. They have started to learn about him during this tournament. But Miami's got more than just one guard, and speed in abundance. And you have to love the head coach. I mean, Jim Larinaga, remember, this is the guy that brought George Mason into the Elite Eight and beat UConn when he shouldn't have beaten UConn. I mean, he's just been a fantastic coach for a long, long time, so I never want to sell him short. I think with Houston, you've seen it firsthand. You showed us the shirt. You've seen at times when they can go drive from the field, but they make up for it because they rebound like crazy and they get a lot of turnovers. The problem with Miami is their guards are so skilled. I don't know if the turnovers are going to come. That's an interesting matchup. If they come, Houston can pull away here. If they don't come, Miami can shoot it really well. One of the really, really good offensive teams left in this tournament, perimeter-wise. They did get their center back, Norchad Omier, last game, which is a big boost for Miami because they really couldn't contend underneath without him. They did last game. They've been good in the tournament. They were good in the ACC all season long. I would tend to say I would take 7.5. Now, I know that as I talk here, some people would say, well, Rob, if you can like Alabama and San Diego State over the total, how could you not like Houston and Miami over the total? And I think it's a little bit different in game one, San Diego State, Alabama. If I was going to rate the units, I would rate Alabama's offense number one, which is why I lean over. If I was going to rate this game, I would rate Houston's defense number one, which is why I'm not as quick to pull the trigger on the over. I haven't played it yet, Skee. I tried to break it down because Houston first half used to be a real thing, right? Their defense comes at you, and you're like, whoa, what is this? But there's been some games this year where they turn it on in the second half too, so I'm a little scared to even pull trigger on first half. Last game, was it their last game or the game before in this tournament? Their second half, they scored 50 points. I think it was Sunday, 50 points second half and made it real easy. They can do that to you. But Miami's not a pushover by any sense, the way they can shoot it, the way they move the ball around. Their defense just ain't very good. And if Houston's hitting shots, I think when you add it all up, Skee, if you made a list, assets, liabilities, there'd be more assets on the Houston side. So let me leave it at that. If you like the game, I guess you play Houston. But I'm not surprised at all if Miami sticks under this number.
Well, the trends say that Miami should keep it close. Miami is 7-2 as an underdog against the spread. They are 17-8 against the spread versus winning teams. Miami is 12-5 against the spread on the road. So all of that says that they should be able to play okay here today. But I'm hearing what you're saying. One of the main guards for Miami is Wong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him play a little bit versus Indiana. He was kind of getting what he wants. But in that first game versus Drake, he couldn't make a shot. I don't know if Drake you would consider them a better defense versus guards. But I know Houston is a really good defense versus guard. So I expect him to have a tougher time than he did versus Indiana. That's my thought process there. And I like what you said about how Houston, they could go dry, but how you seen them play versus Auburn, where they're just controlling the glass, get a lot of offensive rebounds. I could see that happening. And I just think Houston is a much better team. So I'll take them to win this game, minus the 7.5. I'll be singing that song all day. Rolling with the Cougars tonight. So, any last words on this game, Rob, before we move over to the next
I should have you hit on it, Skee, and I should have pointed it out to you. I was going to talk about that first game. I had it here in my notes and I didn't say it, but against Drake, who again, Missouri Valley mid-major, good mid-major. They're a very good defensive team, and as you pointed out, Miami didn't have their way with that defense. They only scored 63 points. Houston is not one step better than Drake, not two. They're 3 steps better than Drake defensively. So it's a real contrast. Like I say, Houston hasn't played an offense like this. However, that conference that they play in is just full of. I don't want to be too negative here, but it's not a good league. But again, like I said about San Diego State, you drop Houston anywhere. Houston could win the Big 12. So people consider that to be the best conference in the nation. There you have it. Maybe Wong and company don't have an easy time here tonight. I struggle with this game.
you guys know where my money will be. You see the shirt, you know what time it is. We making it to that Elite Eight, and I say we because my other team is out. This is my team for the rest of the way. We'll move over to the next game. And for you guys watching on Twitter, we are also live on YouTube. If you guys have questions, feel free to shoot them. We'll do our best to answer them. And yeah, come share. You guys have things you like too. And I know you guys are great handicappers as well. So we would love to see the info. Let's move over here, Rob. We will go to 6:45, 6:46. It's going to be Xavier in Texas. This game opened Texas -4. We're looking at 4 or 4.5 pretty much. Total open 149 and is down as low as 148. I'll start this one with Little Ralph Michaels, his trends and angles that he put out there, and let's just see where it is active for either Xavier or Texas. We have this one for Texas. Teams with the win percentage under 76% since 2015. They're 5-1-1 against the spread, only 4-3 to the under, 6-1 straight up. This applies to Texas. Then we have conference tourney winners, first non-conference tourney winner since 2014. We have 20-11-1 against the spread, 64.5%, 22-10 to the under, 68.8%, also on Texas. And that is all. So 2 systems saying the Longhorns are the right side, and maybe also saying we should take a look at the under. Would you agree with either of those looks?
It's hard for me to agree with looking under, but I do like Texas. In my estimation, Skee, and only my opinion, I feel like Texas, now that we've seen 3 games worth of UConn in the tourney, it's hard to say Texas is playing better than anybody at this point currently. But if I back it up to about 9 or 10 games heading into here, Texas has been fantastic. And I haven't seen it stop yet. I don't know that it stops here. The level of competition that Xavier played to get to this point, the 3rd game, has not been great, right? Kennesaw State and Pittsburgh, neither one of those are Texas. Pittsburgh's a one-trick pony, shooting 3-pointers. Texas has everything covered, including Sir'Jabari Rice, who on the floor tonight, I've heard a lot of people say they feel like he's the best player on the floor. But I know if you tune in and he's on his game, you'll like him because he's a shooter. I mean, and I know you like guys that can put it in the basket from distance, and this guy can, and he's not alone on that team. Marcus Carr, this is a really talented team, Skee. To start the year, I thought maybe Texas was the most talented team in the country. Hit a little bit of a lull. The coaching thing was bad. Chris Beard gets suspended, relieved of his duties. Rodney Terry steps in, and they still won't give this guy the head coaching job after all he's done to get this team to this point. I just think if you look at offense, defense, depth, size, Texas is the better team in all those categories, yet they're only a 4-point favorite. Why? Because the head coach, Sean Miller, formerly of Arizona, has been there and done big things before. You can't sell that short. And he's got a team full of offensive players and an offensive system that's really, really good. Texas is going to have their hands full tonight. So I think it might get toward the over. I think first half is probably a pretty good overplay. I think each of these teams will kind of surprise the other with how good they are offensively out of the shoot. And maybe in a 4-point game where it's lined 4 points, you expect it to be tight, and maybe possessions tighten at the end. Last night we saw a bunch of overs, and all of a sudden that trend of NCAA tournament games going under last Saturday has really turned around toward overs. So we'll see what happens tonight. But I wouldn't sell these 2 teams short offensively. Texas really can play it. They're just a better team defensively. In my estimation, they're the better team overall. And I think they've beaten better competition overall. So I'm going to look that way. Over, I'm going to look Texas, and we'll see how that goes. I thought maybe the price of 4 was too short, but obviously people don't think so because we've only seen a couple of places raise it to 4.5, Skee. So there's Xavier money out there for sure. I just like the other side.
Fair enough. I like what Boofer's saying here, and you know me as well. You said I like shooters. Boofer says, be a shooter and hit that like button from distance. I appreciate you, Boofer. Yeah, if you guys like what you're hearing, hit the like button. It would help us out quite a bit. And there's a few things that you said there, Rob. First, and again, you know college much more than me, and you followed it much longer than me. But Arizona, I feel like they always would fall short. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, yeah. Good enough to get there, not good enough to win the whole prize unless you go all the way back to the late 90s.
Okay. So that's my thought as far as what I think of Sean Miller. I guess he's good enough to get his team there. So I'm not saying he's a
Mhm.
bum or anything, but it seems like they kind of fall short when it gets to around this time. And then um, you like Texas, but you like the over. I think about both of these teams. Their offense is pretty good, but Xavier's defense is kind of mid or mediocre. So I look at that, and then I look at Texas has been winning. They won what, 6 in a row, I think, if not more. And in those games, they've only allowed more than 61 points once. So Texas is playing really good defense, and if their offense is that good, much better than Xavier, they should be able to win this game by margin. That's just how I think. Um, so would you prefer, or do you think the same? And would you prefer Texas, or you still like the over?
All right, I broke it down, Ski. The plays I made, I split them up. I played the over in the first half because I thought that number was better. I think it's 69 and a half. I thought
Okay.
they would get to 70 here. And I played Texas full game because I think in the end they can pull away. Even if Xavier's offense, which is a little unique in the way they run it, if it catches them a little bit off guard, then I think Texas second half adjustments can, take stuff away in the second half. They're good enough free throw shooting. You always have to worry about that, right? With these guys on the line, 20 seconds left. Please, please, please make the free throw, and then they brick one on you, and it takes you off a little bit. But Texas, pretty good free throw shooting team, and so that's the way I did it. I wanted to play both, but I don't like to play like correlated parlays full game because I always end up splitting those things. So I got first half over here. I've got Texas full game, and about Texas holding opponents, like you mentioned, defensively, the last 6 games or so. A bunch of those before the tournament were like third time around in the Big 12. So when you're playing a team for the third time, you know every set they run, you know everything, and it stands to reason that you would be better defensively against those teams. But when these teams get out of conference and the other side doesn't know them that well, we can see a little more free flowing basketball. I think maybe we get that early here.
All right, good stuff there. If I'm playing this game after everything we said, I think I would be playing Texas minus the 4 points. I think that makes the most sense to me here. But a good breakdown. Um, Love breaking these college games down with you. We have one more left, and that is going to be 649, 650. We're looking at Princeton and Creighton. And let me not forget, I was doing a great job up until right now. There we go, Princeton and Creighton. It opened Creighton minus 9.5. They're now a 10-point favorite. Total open 140.5. And we're looking at about 141 pretty much everywhere. Let's go back, take a look at what Little Ralph Michaels has to offer us. And I think a lot of trends around this game, actually. Um, yeah, I see them now. So a lot of things lining up for Princeton. We'll start here. Both teams covered both round number 1 and round number 2. 7-0 to the under. This is before yesterday's games. And then we're looking at teams off back-to-back upset wins since 2012. They are 11-5 against the spread, 68.8%. They're also 12-4 to the under, 75%. That says to play Princeton. That says to play the under. And if they're off back-to-back upsets as a dog of 7 or more, um, it's 7-0 against the spread. And again, these trends are before yesterday, not counting any of those games, but 7-0 against the spread, 5-2 to the under, says Princeton and under. Let's keep looking here. Teams as a number 9 seed and higher since 2012, 16-7-1 against the spread, 69.6%. Also 18-6 to the under, 75%. And let's see, he says since 2017, it gets even better, 10-3 against the spread, 11-2 to the under. That says play Princeton and the under once again. Conference tourney winners, first non-conference tourney winners since 2014. We have them as 20-11-1 against the spread, 64.5%. Also 22-10, 68.8% to the under. Teams with 3 straight wins and now an underdog since 2013. They are 14-2-1 against the spread, 10-7 to the under, That also says play Princeton, maybe play the under. And last but not least, you saw how this game ended. It was active on UConn yesterday. Teams that my bad. Teams that covered both rounds one and round two by 11 or more points. So teams that are just playing really well, better than the market is expecting. There's now after the UConn win, they're 17-2-1 against the spread. And I'm not sure if that game yesterday went over or under in the UConn, but before that it was 13-6 to the under. So a lot of things lining up here for Princeton, a lot of things lining up for under. I would be leaning towards grabbing the points with Princeton. Just back in the trends, back in the data, back rolling with Little Rock Michaels. What says you, Rob? Would you roll with LRM or are you looking the other way?
Well, game wise, Skee, I think whenever I come to a point where I have a lot of arguments for each side, I wind up taking points. So I would probably lean with you there. 10 is a lot. That comes from somebody who thought that up until these last three games, watching the UConn Huskies, that Creighton, not Marquette, not Xavier, not UConn. I thought Creighton, when healthy, was the best team in the Big East and definitely should be in this position, should have made Sweet 16. They've got everything you could possibly ask for as far as being a well-rounded basketball team goes. The big guy in the middle, Kalkbrenner, who was hurt for like 6 games and it didn't play well, fantastic center. Guard play, tremendous. And you see it in the first 2 games, right? They beat NC State pretty easily, shut their offense down, and then they beat Baylor. Baylor really not in that game very much. So, and a lot of people consider Baylor out of the Big 12 a really good team. They've won 5 of their last 6 by double digits or by 9 or more. So both of them are red hot coming in, right? Princeton's covering like crazy. And Princeton, the reason why I would say take them with 10 points, Skee, they took, somebody correct me or give me the exact, but I'm going to say that they're top 5 offensive efficiency in Ken Palm's rankings. I'm going to say that they're top 10 tempo. They took that high-flying offense of Arizona that just won the Pac-12 championship and held them to 55 points and beat them. So how do you not take 10 here? They showed you that they can slow down anybody, winning that thing 59-55. They didn't shoot well. Princeton shot 16% from 3, and they have to live on threes, and they won the game outright against Arizona. So, again, taking 10 makes so much sense here. Is Creighton the better team? Yes. Could Creighton win by more than 10? Yes. But you're asking us to walk up to the window and make a play here, and to me, what makes the most sense is taking the 10. I have a hard time with the total. I think we're looking at 140.5, 141 maybe. I love to play overs in this kind of range, 137 to 142. Let's bet it over because that's when the free throws at the end always seem to matter and push things over. But after seeing that Arizona game, 59-55, I'm scared to death to play any over with Princeton. So they still run a lot of back cuts. They're efficient offensively. They can slow the game down. They're, as always with these Ivy League teams, Skee, they're veteran laden. I don't think they'll rattle. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, you're in Louisville, Kentucky. Creighton's in Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know which team travels better. I would imagine Creighton travels a lot better than the Ivy League school does. But all the people who have tickets for this thing are going to hold up for and don't have an interest are going to root for the underdog. And if you've ever been in those venues, they pull for the underdog if they don't have an interest. So I'm going to say Princeton plus 10, probably the best way I would look here. Total, too indecisive, but seems like a lot of lumber to cover 10 points here.
I like what I'm hearing, and I like the trends that back it up. Von Avery asks, he says, feels like a team you play first half. If they're getting blown out, they haven't shown that they can come back in the second half. Maybe they can, but does that make sense? I mean, it makes sense to me. When you have a big underdog like this, you expect them to come out and fight and punch early. I would agree. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I think that's what they give us in-game for, right? In-game is beautiful for that type of thing. So if you find yourself in that quandary, you just look at where the number is and maybe make a bet in game here. But I understand it. Princeton, again, they didn't crack down the stretch of a 4-point win against Arizona. I don't know that they would crack here. But my dilemma, as I said earlier, is I think so highly of Creighton that I don't really want to be heavy against them. I just think plus 10 is worth taking. Steve Merrill double ding, public underdog.
Yeah, the machine. I guess is he does a segment where the public is betting and the sharps are betting. He's saying it's the biggest public underdog, I guess, for today's slate. Which a lot of things line up to take them, so I understand why. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, and Otto says he enjoys Steve's fade the public video.
Mhm.
So shout out to the machine. That's what we call him, Steve the Machine Merrill. We got through college pretty well. It took us about 30 minutes or so, and I feel like we did a pretty solid job. So we have a full slate of NBA, and this is one of those days where, if you follow me on Twitter, I had a rough time traveling. I didn't get to do my normal handicap for all of these games, etc. So there's a few things that I like. I'm gonna do more of capping the games as I'm talking about here with Rob than usual, but we'll do it kind of how we always do it. We'll figure it out. I'm sure Rob. I can talk to Rob all day about NBA. And we can talk these games out. So first game up, and some of these I may skip, maybe even this first one. But first game up, 529, 530. San Antonio Spurs heading into Washington to face the Wizards. Open Wizards -7. And we see them as an 8-point favorite now. Total open 229.5. And we're looking at about 228 here. Injury report. And I apologize. I should have already refreshed this. I did see Kuzma listed as out. I saw Bradley Beal also listed as out. For the Spurs side, a laundry list of injuries. I don't even know if I should read all of these things. Everybody in the starting lineup, except for Bates Diop, is game time decision. So all I can think to do here, Rob, is I don't want the Spurs in my pocket. They don't even want to win or know who they're going to play. Wizards, I feel like they're in more of a desperation situation. Spurs are just tanking. And I don't know. Lean Wizards don't feel comfortable laying that many points. I'd probably go with Porzingis over his points or 3-point prop just because Kuzma's not playing, and I know the Spurs are the worst team defending the three, but not a game that I'm ultimately super interested in betting here today. How do you feel about Spurs versus Wizards?
I think they're both cooked. I think Washington's showing us that they're done. Season finished. We're done. We've lost 6 of the last 7. 5 of the last 6 against the spread. I mean, they were hanging in there. And mathematically, Skee, they still are hanging in there. But shout out to your mom, Josh. We love Steve Merrill. Yeah, to me, Washington's just Bradley Beal shows up on the injury list. Oh God! Stop scrolling those comments, man. It's going to take us 3 hours to do these games if I keep reading those. But San Antonio is a team I do have interest in always at total. And, I have to print their lineup sheet out every day, Skee, because this jockeying that they do with like 4 players in, it's like a rotation every game. Guys good enough to play one game, he can't play here, bring the other 4 in. Guys can't play, bring the other 4 in. And when I get the right group of guys, I got to play them over. And I'll play them over here, even with Kuzma and Beal out. I'm going to go over 228 because you get, for the most part, it looks like you're going to get Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson both back in the lineup, puts Malachi Branham on the bench. And I think at that point, as I was going through numbers about 5 days ago, I just noticed a trend. When those 2 guys are on the floor, the games are all going over. When those 2 guys aren't together on the floor, they're not reaching 100 points. Tonight, they're going to be there. Washington is just in, I would say, put up your own numbers mode. So even without the offense of Kuzma and Beal, we know that San Antonio's defense stinks enough to allow anybody to get to 120. I'm going to try. I think it's low for a San Antonio game, 228. So that's where I went with this one. I actually did play this one, 228 over the total.
All right, I can't talk you off of that. Home road splits, both teams do trend towards the over. Don't think there will be a whole lot of defense played. So good stuff on that game. Next game up, we will move to 531, 532. That would be Indiana and Boston. This game opened Boston -11.5. We're looking now at, they're still 11.5. I guess they went up to 12.5 earlier and came back down. Maybe you're getting some guys from Boston rolled out. We will check the injury report. Total open 235.5, and it's up to 236.5. And let's get over to the injury report. So no, I don't see anybody. Just Peyton Pritchard, game time decision. They will still be without Gallinari. And then for the Pacers, Halliburton is game time. Duarte is game time. And I did see a pop up this morning saying Halliburton went through shoot around. So maybe you can expect him to play there. I felt a couple different ways here. Initially, I was thinking to bet the over just because I don't trust the Pacers defensively. Looking at the last 2 weeks, they're allowing north of 120 points per game, and we know the Celtics all year long um, score with ease at the house. They're averaging north of 120, so I really want to look their way. It's just first game back after the long road trip, usually a flat spot, more towards under type of games. So it helped me up here. Um, if I have to play this game, I will go with the over. But again, it's not going to be one that I get involved with. Do you like this game, Rob? And would you be looking at an over?
Well, where these two are concerned, I think you always have to look at an over, but you make great points about Boston being back off. And they made a big deal out of having to beat Sacramento in the final game of that road trip. So they did. You saw Jason Tatum. I think he was out early shooting 3-pointers before shoot around even that day because they wanted that game in the worst way. Back home, they've been great at home. We've talked about it and almost to the point of nauseum how much better they are at home offensively. But I had the Halliburton situation when I saw it this morning, Skee, and that's likely the reason why the line has moved toward Indiana. If he plays, I want 11.5, I think, with Indiana. Again, that was a 6-game West Coast swing. We say it every day, fade the team that comes home first game after a long swing like that, 3,000 miles away. You just flew west to east. You know what it's like. It ain't easy. So I'm going to say, even though I didn't play, just to be brief, my lean would be Indiana plus 11.5. They showed me the other night in that 118-114 win without Halliburton over Toronto, even though Toronto was missing a couple of starters, that they're still trying to get into this play-in spot. They still have the opportunity. I don't know that they'll win this game, but I do think 11.5 is an awful lot to give this team if Tyrese Halliburton's on the floor.
I would agree with you. Everything depends on Hallie. If he's out, you fade the hell out the Pacers. If he's in, maybe betting over, or you Pacers can be backable. So good stuff on that game. Let's keep moving. We do have quite a bit of games here today. Next one up, I see 533, 534. We're looking at the Pistons heading into Toronto to face the Raptors. Current lines, or I'm sorry, opened Raptors minus 12.5. Now up to minus 14.5 here. Total open 226, and we've seen it come down as low as 223.5. Injury report, I'm sure there's plenty for the Pistons. I see Livers game time decision, but likely to play. They will be without Bogdanovich, Burks, Diallo, Magruder, and Stewart. For the Raptors, a lot of people game time decision. Achua, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent, and looks like Westcamp game time, Benton out. So a lot of question marks for this game, I guess. This one is pretty simple for me, Rob. If I'm getting involved here, I don't think you should be laying this kind of points with the Raptors. And I mean, they're going up against the Petty King, Dwayne Casey. Um, he won Coach of the Year. They fired him. Ever since he's playing them tough every single game. He was winning the games outright for a while, but this lack of talent is making it tough. They covered the last meeting. I was there right at the game. Played them tough all the way down. 14.5 for the Petty King. I could only look towards the Pistons in this matchup. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I don't often say this, Skee, but this is one I'll hardly even talk about. The first thing I did this morning, to tell you the God's honest truth, was I looked to see if Ben Taylor was going to be reffing the game with Van Vliet involved, but he's not. And so with that taken care of, I would probably lean with you, though. I don't think you want to lay 14.5 with Toronto. I mean, this price is going up. Jaden Ivey's back in the lineup. Detroit's offense has gone so south recently that maybe you want to look at an under. I think, if somebody said you got $50 free, go ahead and roll it somewhere. Maybe I'd roll it with under just because Detroit's offense. I don't think they've scored over 107 in their last 5 games, or 4 of their last 5 games, whatever that number is. It's close. So I don't want any part of them. I would probably say under. Oh, no, we can't hear you.
My bad on that. Detroit has gone under their last 5 games, but Toronto has been playing over 7 of their last 10. The over has hit 6 of the last 9 versus in these matchups, and Detroit has covered 9 meetings in a row. Petty King, letting you know, he tells them, y'all don't give me nothing for any other games on the schedule. Give me these 4, please. That's it. So plus 14.5. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be in my pocket. Like I said, it was a rough morning for me, travel issues, all that stuff. So didn't want to just rush and make the bets. I just want to talk them out a little bit, make sure they make sense. And I like it. I got to continue to roll with it. Darren says Detroit 9-0 against the spread against the Raptors. Stay away. Why does that mean stay away? I'm confused. Let me know. What's up, Ron? Good to see you in the chat here. Been a while. Hopefully everything's going well with you, and look forward to continue capping with you. Glad you made it into the chat today. Darren says he got Wiseman for a bounce back on props. I'm done. I mean, I'm not taking the props no more just because you never know how it can go. I mean, it was Bagley's night the other night and didn't get anything with Wiseman. Killian Hayes, he's not good, but they leaving him out there, maybe just trying to see what he can do, or maybe somebody else will like him and want to trade for him. I don't know. So no props in this game for me. Only the Pistons plus the 14.5 points. Corey says line functionality says Raptors lay the chalk. I don't know. Not a way that I handicap, but if that's how you handicap, go for it. I'm only here to tell you guys the information. You guys can do it what you will. Anything else? I don't think you have anything else on this game. You didn't really like this game, right, Rob? We can keep it going.
Nah, let's roll, Skee.
All right, next game up, 5:35, 5:36. We're looking at Houston Rockets heading into Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. This game opened Grizzlies minus 13, still 13 across the board. Total open 233.5, and hasn't really moved. Injury report. Let's just double check here. For Memphis, Steven Adams is out, Williams out. Or I'm sorry, Zaire Williams out, and then also Vince Williams out. So both of them. For the Rockets, it looks like Kaminsky is game time decision, and Tate is going to be out. These teams did just play the other day. Rockets got the cover, and my thought process in that one was, when a star player comes back, kind of want to fade that team. He could throw off the rhythm that they had going. I mean, they were starting to play well without him already, and then they were missing Dylan Brooks too. So they'll get Dylan Brooks back tonight. Still getting back used to playing with Ja. I would lean towards taking the points with the Rockets. They've been playing good basketball lately. I know the last 2 weeks they've covered 5 of their last 7 games. And when I think about the Rockets, like even last year, they tanked the whole first 3/4 of the season. And then the last down the stretch, they're like, okay, we free balling. We already in the lottery for the draft pick. We can just play these games normal now. And they started to play good basketball. I remember last year, Jalen Green was going over his point prop consistently as well. So I lean Rockets here, but haven't gotten to the window with it. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like the idea of shortening it up, Skee. Memphis has been a really good first half team. In fact, if you just take their first half at home, they're tied with the Knicks for best record in the NBA. And we talk an awful lot more about Knicks first half than we do Grizzlies first half. But they've been there. And I agree with a lot of the stuff you said. Ja coming back and coming in as a reserve the other day. It just seemed like a game where, Ja's back. We got the Rockets, and they allowed the Rockets to shoot 51% from the field. Memphis usually a pretty good defensive team. Brooks back from the suspension, like you said. I liked that when I saw that this morning. So I shortened it up and played Memphis first half minus 7.5. They're known for getting after it quick in these games. And Houston, for what it's worth, is known for putting up a fight at the end. And they don't go away second half, and maybe it's purposely done. Dig a hole. We can't win the game. Now we'll just go fight and act like we want to win some ball games. But I think that they've shown a little bit of toughness over the course of the last 2 weeks. And I tried to credit the other day I was talking with Jay Money about Houston. playing 48 minutes, or at least trying to win games, because they had won a couple in a row, or maybe 3 out of 4. And I said, let's give Steven Silas a little bit of credit. Got these guys going. He said, Rob, I'm giving Steven Silas no credit. The team is trying. He stinks, but the team is trying. So I'll go with that. Steven Silas stinks. The team is trying. But I'm definitely going to play Memphis minus 7.5 first half. I think that's a game where you might look up and see 66-51 at half, Memphis. And I'm going to go that way.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Silas either. I see him as a crybaby, and I don't think they really play for him over there. So, not a big fan. Rob likes to get in and get out in this game, and I can't talk him off. I'll just sit and watch for this one. We'll keep it rolling. We have 5:37, 5:38. It's going to be Charlotte heading into Dallas. This game opened. Apologize. Let me get there here. This game opened Dallas minus 13.5. They are now 14.5 point favorites, and total opened 228. It's down as low as 227 here. Injury report for both of these teams. For Charlotte, it looks like Terry Rozier's game time decision, along with Kelly Oubre Jr. Dennis Smith, another game time, but he's very likely to play here. And Mark Williams, game time as well. And then looks like the only person who's listed as out is Cody Martin. For Dallas, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s game time decision, along with Kyrie Irving. So how I feel about this is pretty simple here, Rob. Why the hell will we lay 14.5 points for Dallas? What have they shown us to? I mean, they've been covering a couple games lately, but I just don't look at Dallas as that kind of team. If you can't play defense, I don't want to expect you to win by double-digit margins. And I don't look at Dallas as a good defensive team. And you're going to be missing a whole lot of scoring if Irving and Tim Hardaway Jr. don't play. Only way I could look in this game will be either Charlotte plus the points. I know they've been struggling to score. So, thinking about it, talking it out loud, you're missing Tim Hardaway Jr., you're missing Kyrie Irving. Charlotte has been very poor offensively since LaMelo went down. Under 227.5, I think would be the way I prefer to play this game. Would you agree, Rob?
I do hear it because I thought it early this morning, Skee, but I can contradict myself in too many ways. Hardaway Jr. and Irving didn't play the other night against Golden State, and Dallas Golden State got to 252, 127, 125. But then in my head, I countered that by saying, well, that's Golden State, and this is Charlotte. They can't put the ball in the ocean right now. They're horrendous offensively. And I've been on this little rampage about no Mark Williams at the rim. I don't think he's played the last 2 games for Charlotte, but Nick Richards quietly, as much as I want to say he's a downgrade, he's picked up 1 double-double, and I think he's had like 19 and 14 rebounds in 2 games or something. So Dallas has nothing in the middle. What's to stop Nick Richards from going over his rebound total? I'm kind of with you on these props. Every time I seem to bet when the game turns into a 35-point blowout and the guy I have doesn't play the last 10 minutes of the game or somebody gets hurt. So a lot of things can go wrong with props, but here Nick Richards on the boards might be worth it. If you think Steven Silas is a crybaby, Skee, then do you think Mark Cuban is a crybaby? I mean, what was that at mid-court the other day? And the referees are as much to blame as Cuban was for pointing out everything that was wrong and actually was correct. He was wrong in everything. They have to win games. They played themselves out of a playoff spot. So are they going to win? Probably yes. Could Kyrie play here? Could be. Could Tim Hardaway play? Could be. In that case, it's probably a rout. But there's too many question marks right now. I mean, as we said, the line is going up from 13.5 to 14.5. Does somebody know Kyrie's going to play? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I'd probably sit on this game. If you're going to play, I'd probably sit on it for a couple hours and just see how this injury report plays out.
Fair enough. I will not. I'm very likely to not be involved in this game. I'll just say that. A lot of games on the slate today, and not my favorite here. And neither is this next one, but we will talk about it a little bit at least. We'll see if Rob has more to say than I do. We're looking at 539, 540 Milwaukee heading into Utah. Opened up Bucks minus 8.5. They're now 9 or 9.5 point favorite. Total open 233. We're looking at 236 or 236 and a half. Injury report for Utah. Juzang, game time decision. They could have used him last night. Jordan Clarkson out, Rudy Gay out, Larry Markkinen out, Colin Sexton out. And I meant that for UCLA. Milwaukee, Crowder's out, Dragic out, Leonard out, Middleton out. This is a game I have very little interest in playing. Only thing I'll say is I don't really trust the Jazz defensively. Um, let's look at the last 2 weeks here. I mean, they've been scoring the ball too, even without these guys in the lineup. Last 2 weeks, they are 6-0 to the over, giving up close to 120 points per game, but also scoring over 120 points per game. Milwaukee, home road splits as far as the total is concerned. I have them 24-10 to the under on the road. This game makes me nervous here, Rob. I do think Milwaukee will play with pace, and I don't think Utah will shy away from it. I don't think Utah is going to do a whole lot of stopping anybody here tonight. So I guess lean towards the over. And my thought process is I've seen a couple games where THT plays better, has more opportunity when Jordan Clarkson is not out there. So maybe a lean towards his props if I'm playing anything for Utah side. And that's all I have for this game. Do you like this game at all?
Well, I think it's impossible to bet Utah. And I say that, Skee, knowing that when these star players are out, you just bet the team with nobody playing and they cover. We've gone through a whole season of NBA like that, including without Paul George last night against Oklahoma City. But no Markkinen, no Clarkson. I just don't want any part of Utah. Now, Larry Markkinen came back in their game earlier this week off of injury and scored 42. Almost had a triple-double that night. So he's so important to them. To your point about Horton Tucker, he did have a couple of big games when they let him get out there and play some minutes. So, Utah's that team. We've talked about them a lot where we just want to play them over because we know they can't play defense and we know they run like crazy. And they do have guys that can put it in the bucket. But Milwaukee's been scoring. I don't know if you have the numbers on their last 10, but I think I counted 4 times this month they've scored over 130, and maybe some of those are at home. And not having Middleton doesn't mean anything to how many points Milwaukee can put up. I think Giannis had a bunch the other night in 24 minutes. And the rest of these guys, all these three-point shooters now, Skee, as I watch, all of a sudden they're coming around. Joe Ingles, Pat Connaughton, all these guys that were lousy to start the year, really good now. If I was going to play, I'd play Milwaukee. I think they could smash them. But I'm scared to death of this, constant theme in the NBA of when you see personnel mismatches like this and you play the team with the better personnel, you lose. There's no two ways about it. You lose every single time you try it. So I don't know. I would say lean Milwaukee minus the 9.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay far away. 1 + 1 = 5 in these kind of scenarios, right, Rob? So far this year, and I don't like that. That math don't add up to me. So
yeah, that ain't
I'll let
logical.
No, keep me with what's logical. We'll move right along. 541, 542. Philly and Golden State opened up. Golden State -5. We now see them still -5. Total open 235.5. It's dropped a point to about 234.5. Injury report, I do see James Harden on there, game time decision, as well as Joel Embiid. McDaniels, another game time decision for this Philadelphia team. And then for the Warriors, they'll be without the usual suspects, Iggy, Ty Jerome, Gary Payton, and Andrew Wiggins. When I think about this game, we know how, Golden State, the home road dichotomy, they're really good at home. Numbers wise, I have them as 29-7 straight up, 24-11 against the spread. And I feel like they're a little bit hungry and need to start winning some of these games. I know they're in that patch of teams that are not separated by many games. So I think a combination of this game maybe meaning a little bit more to them being at home, the stars on the other side being on the injury report. The only way to look in this game for me would be Golden State. It is their first game back home after a long road trip, though. That is the flat spot that I do not like to back. But I do have another system active here. It goes from 2016, and pretty much what this one is saying. Let me try to. So we're taking out the first 5 games of the year. We're looking at home teams, and it says the teams. I'm gonna read it out first. The teams average points minus the team's average opponent points plus opponent's average opponent's points minus opponent's average points. So it's saying that the team that they're playing is just giving up a lot defensively. Let me just make sure that. Let me read it one more time. I should have. I'm out of it today. That's my bad here. Pretty much it's saying that this line, like, why would you think Golden State should be 5.5 point favorite the way that they've been playing lately? Like compared to Philly, who's been on a crazy streak. So pretty much the system is saying that the line is where it is for a reason compared to the amount of points that they average and all the other things that I named. I didn't play it. I just like to read and see what's active and see if it makes a little bit of sense here. Those teams are 124, 81, and 1 against the spread, 60.5%. And I do think, Golden State is the team that has more to play for. So I lean their side. Did I get there with them today? No, I did not. But Rob, can you back Golden State here tonight?
I could. Let me start with the positive about Philadelphia. And I'll tell you, this is why Joel Embiid keeps taking the floor, Skee. Now, the other night he had to come out after only 16 minutes because of the calf strain. And he immediately, I think it was like 3 hours after that game was over in this area locally, where I saw a text or a message where he swore he's going to play in this game in Golden State. I don't know. They're forcing Embiid or he's forcing himself onto the floor for two reasons. A, he wants MVP that bad. And B, Philadelphia wants home court in a 2-3 series against Boston, which is probably what we're headed for, that bad. They don't want to have 4 in Boston. They want to have 4 in Philly. And right now, Boston and Philly are separated by half a game. All that being said, when you talk about the injury that kept Harden out last game and this injury that happened to Embiid, I think more about them not only from, well, first of all, the offense the other night, they got off to a 23-1 lead and they coasted, and Maxey and Melton are good starting guards in this league, but the depth just gets shortened up so much with them, Skee. And when an injury happens mid-game, you can go with the flow a little bit more. But when you head into a game like this one against these guys, Golden State at home, with 2 guys, a calf and an Achilles, they slow you down. I think Looney's been playing really good on the boards last 3 weeks or so, so I don't think it's that much of a cakewalk for Joel Hurt. I just think Golden State, and again, I'm probably standing right in front of that fade train, which says don't play Golden State because they're home off the road trip. But I'm going to do it. I don't think Philly's healthy enough right now. I think they're trying like crazy to get that 2 seed and get Joel the MVP. And I'm just looking here, Skee. I don't know if this game is a national TV broadcast, Philly Golden State tonight, late game. There's a lot of late games. I don't know which one is on. But if it's national TV, Joel wants to be seen scoring 30 plus. I just don't think he's healthy enough right now to do it against a team that
it's on NBA TV.
It's on NBA TV. Okay, so most can watch it. The Golden State home firepower against a team with their 2 best players hurt doesn't thrill me any to play the visiting team. So I'm probably going to be on Golden State. I still see 4.5s out there too. And that line's liable to seesaw back and forth as people get more up-to-date injury news on Embiid and on Harden. But I'm going to say right now, even if they both play, and if they both play, I'll get a better price later. I like Golden State.
I think I can maybe get there with you because those 2 injuries, significant injuries, I agree with everything you said there. I have the system active here. I already was leaning that way. So I'm going to look a little bit more into it after the show and likely get there with Golden State minus the 4.5 or 5 points. I like this comment by Josh. He like Seth's brother threes. Seth's brother. And then Boofer says, Seth's brother's mom.
Oh, God, we're
back
the
on
moms.
They love the moms on this show. I love the chat. We have fun. We can't sit here and talk and be boring, and nobody wants to hear that. We got to have a little bit of fun and laugh while we do these things. So I love it. Manny was trying to help us out, letting us know it's on NBA TV. See, Corey says they won 2 road games straight. Then we'll go home and lose. Injury manipulation. Well, we could see.
Mm-hmm.
Defenny says 4.5 now on DraftKings, just changed from 5.5. So maybe one of those guys is going to play. I would think Embiid plays more than Harden, and we shall see how it shakes out. But lean from both of us. We both like the Golden State side. Let's keep going here, Rob. I think we're doing a pretty decent job. We've been on there quite a while, but we're almost there. We got three more left in the association. Bulls and Blazers is the next one up. Let me get back to my odds screen. 543, 544. Opened up Chicago -2. They're now a 4-point favorite. Total opened up 226 and it's down as low as 222.5 at Bet Online. So I think this one is on the move right now. We must have just got some injury news. So let me hit the refresh button on the injury report just to see what we have coming in here. And Chris says Embiid went through shoot around, so that's probably why that number moved. Thinking he's going to play over there. And then Chicago and Portland. Lillard, his game time decision here. Nazir Little, game time but likely to play. Nurkic is game time but unlikely to play. Baji out, Jeremy Grant out, Simons out, Winslow out. So could be missing a hell of a lot of offense for this Blazers team tonight. Maybe they're just, I mean, they played a tough game the other day and won. I was gonna say maybe they're packing it in, but I know Lillard, wants to make the playoffs. Not like they're gonna do anything, but yeah, Chicago, Caruso's game time, DeRozan is game time, and also looks like Devontae Green is game time decision here. So I feel like this is an important game for both of these teams. But who do I trust more? And they're saying DeMar is out. I was thinking he's going to be out just because of what I saw from him last game. I don't know why he's just on the injury report as game time decision. But I think I trust the Bulls more here, Rob. If you're missing all of those guys, all of the main guys for Portland, and then you're only missing one main guy for Chicago, I just think everybody is playing hard on that Bulls team. Ever since Pat Beverly went over there, we've talked about it before. The body language did a full 360. They look like dead men walking. Now everybody's interested. They're trying to make a push and win games and be in the playoffs, etc. So the positive impact from Patrick Beverly, along with how they've been playing, they've won 4 out of their last 6, which is the last 2 weeks, compared to Portland, who's only won 1 of their last 6 games. I would be on the Bulls here. I can understand why the market is liking them, and I'd probably also lean towards an under with all the scoring missing for this Portland team. Do you agree with either or both of those sides, Rob?
Yeah, I agree with both. I would prefer DeRozan, but we're seeing the line go down now, Skee, as we talk. It's all the way from 4 to 3 in a lot of places now with DeMar not being in. And it's important, but I feel like if you don't have Nurkic, here comes Vucevic, and Zach LaVine could be enough to offset what Dame's going to do here. If you have Caruso, I mean, again, when we talk from a defensive standpoint, you really want somebody like Alex Caruso, who's never going to, you don't stop Damian Lillard, but at least you can slow this guy down a little bit with a guy like him who's a fierce defender. I like Chicago from the outset. They ran into a Philadelphia freight train the other night. I think the biggest reason why I liked Chicago right off the bat, Skee, was just from the defensive end of the floor. Chicago's playing pretty good defense. Portland's never plays any. Personnel has a lot to do with that. You rattled off the scoring that they'll be missing. The Nurkic injury is new. He played the other night. Not going to play here. Again, I think that gives, for those of you, and I was on a kick for a while playing Vucevic props. I couldn't argue anybody playing his props tonight without Nurkic in the middle. So I probably lean Bulls, and I probably lean with you under, but playing under in a Portland game for me is like, just look at the final score. Don't bother following the game because it's so scary to play them under. But I think the Bulls, like you say, they wanted a lot. So does Portland. I just think they're better personnel-wise right now.
All right, good stuff there, Rob. The comment section, Defense says, how about under 222.5? What Rob said about Portland not playing defense is absolutely true. I don't trust them in that regard, and so it does make it hard to take unders. I think I would prefer the Bulls side rather than an under. Let's keep going here. 2 more games left. 5:45, 5:46. We will look at Phoenix and Sacramento. Um, Let me go back to the opener. I know I did see it at 3.5, but it opened -4.5 for the Kings. We've seen a drop down to 3.5. Total open 239.5. Currently a consensus of 239. Injury report for Phoenix. They'll be without once again DeAndre Ayton and Kevin Durant. For Sacramento, we have Kevin Herter, game time decision, but likely to play here. Um, I don't want the Suns. They're not playing good basketball right now. They're not healthy. I think they've lost what 5 of their last 6 games. What reason is it to come in here and back them at such a short spread? Kings have been playing good basketball, so it's a combination of that, them playing at the house. Only way to look for me is Sacramento here. And as far as the total is concerned, if you look at last 2 weeks, they are combined 10-4 to the over. If you look at the home road splits, combined 5-1. If you look at home road splits all season, they're combined 44-27 to the over. So I do know Sacramento is going to play up tempo. Sacramento is not the best team defensively. They win their games by outscoring opponents. So if I'm leaning the King side, I have to be liking the over. Would you agree with that assessment?
Totally. It's one of my favorite plays of the day. The Kings this month, they've played 11 games. 8 of those games have hit 239 or better. So first of all, betting this number is a pretty good place to start. I think we can get over. And then it wasn't that long ago, Skee, where Phoenix was this tough defensive team. They don't stop anybody anymore. Last 7 games, 122 allowed, 124, 128, 123, 116, 113 to Orlando. The Kings light up everybody. Kevin Huerter coming back is a big deal. He hasn't played the last 2 games. I think working him back in is helpful to that offense. And the stuff that went on the other night with this team and Monty Williams still don't, for whatever reason, there's an increasing fracture again there. It was quiet for a while when they got Durant. It seemed like everybody, DeAndre Ayton was all happy. Now DeAndre Ayton's not playing. Nobody's happy. I even saw the other day where now they're doubting whether or not Monty Williams should even be in Phoenix anymore. But you're right. That situation is not good. And why you would play that game down from 4.5 to 3.5 is beyond me. Sacramento's proven 100 times over that they're in this thing for the haul now. I mean, there's a ton of times where they could have stopped covering games if they weren't good enough. But apparently they're good enough. So I like over the best. I think Phoenix Booker probably has a big game. They probably score their points. But again, they don't stop anybody except for Boston the other night. Nobody stopped Sacramento. I just mentioned 8 games out of 11, 239 or better where total's concerned. So I think this is a good number. Let's go up and over 239.
Good stuff. I would agree with you here. Chris, he's a Suns fan. He says, Monty's too busy complaining about fouls to actually coach the team.
Right.
I love that comment by him. Not a whole lot to like for that Suns team. You know, when they first made that Kevin Durant trade, everybody's running to the window, go bet the Suns to win the title. Not so fast. I don't think they're going to do it this year. Let's go on to the last game of the slate for today, as far as college basketball, NBA, and this show are concerned. 547, 548. We're looking at the LA Lakers versus the OKC Thunder. This game opened Lakers -6. They are 5.5 point favorite right now. Total open 232 and slight increase 232.5 for 233. Injury report. Nobody on there for OKC. They are healthy. For the Lakers, and it's a back-to-back, so you could see people pop up as the day goes on for OKC. They don't have to report that early. For the Lakers, Anthony Davis is game time decision, but he's likely to play. He's game time every single day. They'll be without Mo Bamba and LeBron James. So I do have a system here. I'll read that first before I do anything else. It says since 2014, road dogs getting 5.5 points or less in conference games on the second of a back-to-back after they previously lost on the road. They are 57-40 straight up, 58.8%, and these are underdogs. 64-32 against the spread, 66.7%. Also 54, 39, and 4 to the over, 58.1%. And this trend is from game 20 all the way to game 80. We take out the last two games because teams usually rest players for the playoffs. So that says to play OKC tonight, and I don't like it. I think the Lakers, um, for one, I think they're better, and not both teams are kind of desperate, right? If OKC wants to make the playoffs, I just feel like I would prefer the Lakers at home, and it's not enough. It's not enough for me to take them. However, I got the system telling me it's a good spot for OKC. I can't just bet with my heart and go take the Lakers. But what I will do, what I will look at, and Manny be watching them games. Manny know what's up. Austin Reeves, we trust. He's in the starting lineup now. Even before in the starting lineup, he's been playing good basketball for a while. But if he's getting those extra minutes, and they're dependent on him, he's the best person probably getting AD the ball. He's doing a lot of great stuff in pick and roll. He's getting to the foul line like a superstar. You have to play him some way, shape, or form tonight, whether it's over his 5.5 assists, whether it's his points plus assists at 23.5. I think those are good numbers. They both have hit three of the last four games. Or you could just go points, rebounds, and assists. That's hit three of the last four games as well. But he hasn't had that much of an uptick in rebounds. All I would say is OKC has been a bottom five rebounding team the last 5 games. They've been a better defensive team. So I was thinking maybe I should include the points, rebounds. I should include the rebounds with the points and assists. But I have to play on him some way, shape, or form. Like I said, whether it's points plus assists, PRA. I like Austin Reeves as the best bet tonight in this game. How do you feel about Lakers versus OKC? And which prop would you prefer for Austin Reeves? Would you include the rebounds? Would you just go points plus assists? Would you just take the assists? Would you just take the points? What do you think, Rob?
What's the increase, Skee, when you go from points and assists to points, assists, rebounds? I mean, I would prefer all three with him because he's so multi-talented in that regard. He can fill any of those categories, but I don't know what the jump is.
The number for PRA is 28.5. The number for points plus assists is 23.5. And the number for points was 19.5. The number for assist was 5.5.
Yes, the way he's playing right now, I would try all three because I just don't know which. If I leave a category out with him, it's probably one that he'll do well in tonight. I started this last night after the Clippers game. I told myself I'm going to bet Oklahoma City plus points in this game. They're really good back to back. There's no travel here, right? It's LA to LA, but there could be, a little nightlife. I don't know when you're here in LA, and that could hurt them. But the biggest concern, Skee, and the reason why I'm not in Oklahoma City, and you hit it right off the bat with this injury list. I read an article yesterday where head coach Mark Daigneault had a lot of quotes in there about how they are carefully monitoring the injury and the minutes of SGA. And he hasn't played on the second of back-to-backs, I think, the last two times. Last two times they've been in back-to-back situations, he has sat. And so, like you say, they don't have to report that injury report right now. And I think 3 hours from now, we might see him show up because, again, there was some concern. They don't want to overwork him. There was even some talk he might not play last night. He did because he wants to play against the Clippers. But if he sits out here, I don't want OKC. They played two really good games, these two teams have, within like the last 6 weeks. I think OKC won here by 3, and the Lakers went there and won by 6. They're in a heated battle for this 10 and 11 spot. And again, these standings, Skee, in the West, we've talked about them every day the last couple of weeks when we've done this show. But Phoenix is the 4 seed, 10.5 games out, and Oklahoma City and the Lakers are 10 and 11, and they're only 13 out. There's 2.5 games separating 7 teams. It's a lot. It's not a lot, excuse me. And a win for either side here is big. So I don't know. Until I see the injury report, I can't do anything here. But I do think that the Lakers, if you like the Lakers, I think you're probably smartest to play right now because I got a real strong feeling SGA might show up on that injury report off of what I've read. So we'll see. Maybe they think the importance of the game is too much. That's where it lands for me. I can't play total without knowing about him. And where Austin Reeves is concerned, I would probably try PRA. He's been so good, Skee, that Lonnie Walker IV doesn't even play anymore. And that was a big acquisition in the offseason. They don't even use him.
Absolutely. I mean, he don't play a whole lot, or he hasn't been playing a whole lot of defense, and I don't know. He's been getting outplayed. I definitely love Austin Reeves. I want him making all the decisions. And like I said, in Reeves we trust. I'm loving what I'm seeing from him right now. Um, so he's gonna be, the way I look to play this game for sure. A couple other comments here. Tone Miggins says Lakers money line. I'm not sure what this is. And at 15 assists over 5.5. I'm not sure what that is, but he does like the Lakers money line tonight. And Darren says Lakers first quarter. Oh, he said AR 15 assists. He's taking over. Oh, Lakers money line and AR assists over 5.5 is plus 160. I think that's what he's saying there. Got it. Boofer says Reeves replace Lonnie. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
All four of the Lonnies. Boofer.
Yeah, Boofer's always here for a good laugh. All right, that's the last game. We got through 4 college games. We got through I don't know how many NBA games, and we have 122 people here live in the chat. If you guys like what you're hearing, hit the like button for us. It will help us out quite a bit. If you interested, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You'll know every time that we go live. And it's that time of the show, Rob, where I ask if you have anything that you would like to promote. And out of everything that we talked about, is there a play, maybe more than one play, that you like more than the rest?
Well, let's go to the promotion for wagertalk.com. Those of you who see us when we're on together 2-3 times a week, you hear this all the time. But if you go to wagertalk.com and drop your email address, you will get instant free access to all the media and written content provided over there at wagertalk.com. Shows like Skee has every day of the week here. You can find those also at WagerTalk in every sport, NBA, NHL, college hoop, Major League Baseball up and coming. I know, Skee, you're a big baseball guy, so we look forward to that. You can get it all, wagertalk.com. If you're interested in selection packages, I do have 2 best bets up in college hoop tonight over there at wagertalk.com. The NBA card will be to follow. My plays are there every single day. Again, I'll just say college basketball has been real good to me, Skee, this year. Another 2-0 last night. So we're on a 7-0 run this week in college hoops with a couple of games up there for this evening. Once again, wagertalk.com. As for tonight's play, I'm going to go to one that we just talked about a few minutes ago, and I do like Golden State here. I just don't like the fact that both Harden and Embiid, even if they play, Skee, I don't think they keep up with Golden State at home. The Warriors team, it doesn't really need to be said. We've documented it all season long. Many people have. But at home, they're just a different animal, and they are healthy as they've been in a while for at least the last 5 games here. They're getting a lot of people back. Only Wiggins has been missing as far as importance goes. And I see that GP3 is on the mend and on the way back too. So that's going to help them. But I think here they've got everything they need to have. Maybe it's that third quarter push that they usually have. Whatever. I'm going to lay 4.5 with the Golden State Warriors here. Oh, no, Hank.
Rob
No,
liking the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I'm liking the Warriors minus 4.5 here. I think that's probably my best NBA play. I give you a couple of secondary spots real quick here. We talked about the Kings over. I think that's a good play. And where we started, San Antonio, Washington, with the guys the Spurs have in the game tonight, it's been a pretty good bet to play over with Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson both on the floor.
All right, good stuff there, Rob. A lot of good information from him throughout the show, and he's giving you his best bet right there, and other plays that he's liking as well. For myself, I have not. I mean, I put one wager in, but it's college basketball. You guys know what it is. If you know, you know who I'm betting on today. But NBA, I do have some things that I like. I'm just slow to the window because of the traveling stuff. So what I like right now is the best bet is Austin Reeves. Whether you decide to play on points, rebounds, and assists or assists, I'm pretty sure I like the points, rebounds, and assists. And I'm probably going to ladder his assists as well. He has all the playmaking responsibilities, or not all of them, but a lot. And him being a starter, I think he can definitely get there tonight. So I like him. And I also will be playing, absolutely, not an if. I'll be playing the Pistons plus 14.5. Petty man, He covered 9 times in a row. You gonna fire me after coach of the year? All right, give me the Pistons plus the points. Um, like we always say, Chris says great show. Javier says great show, and thanks for our time. We appreciate you guys. This show is not the same without the chat. You guys making us laugh all show long. You guys sharing a lot of good insight, letting us know plays that you guys like, and it's much appreciated. So best of luck to everybody on all your action. It is Friday, so good luck on the weekend. I will have System Saturday up tomorrow. And Rob, I don't know if you're available or around. We'll have more college basketball games. So
We could do it if you want, Skee. We'll text it out and see what time is good for us.
sounds good. So I will wake up bright and early. I'll do a System Saturday show, the usual way, like we always do it, and then I'll come talk some college basketball here with Rob. Like I say, good luck on all your action. Best of luck this weekend. I will catch you guys again tomorrow, or we will catch you guys again tomorrow.